the Anime Fray, Saber Slave podcast. If you're
Oh,
watching
shit.
through VODs, VOD 6 doesn't exist.
Oh no.
Oopsies.
Forgot
It's
to say
okay,
VODs today?
it's okay. It's the week that we voted off Dungeon Boonies.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So that's
It's
all
been
you
a
need
while.
to know.
It's
We
been a
voted
while.
off Dungeon Boonies, and it wasn't a very
been a while.
contentious vote. Back arrow was considered, as was volleyball. Volleyball went last week, so you know how back arrow's doing.
Well, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Well,
2
weeks ago.
just
We
2
were
weeks
off
ago.
last week because complications.
Reasons. Yes.
But we have the solution. We're voting off the 2 shows with the most slays this week.
Yep, we're voting off Dylan. That's the first thing.
Yep. Also, that you might have noticed he is gone. That is a consolation prize for us because we are voting off 2 shows. We also got to vote off a fellow podcast member, and unanimously, it was Dylan.
Sag.
On an actual note, we'll have to talk about some how that may not be a joke later. We'll have to talk about that. Dylan will be voting for this week. He hasn't
Scheduling is
finished
hard.
everything yet, so he hasn't voted yet. So I'm gonna let him know if by the end of the podcast his votes matter, and if that's the case, we might have to wait a little bit to get conclusive evidence.
Well, I feel like I know his votes. So
I
like
have his thoughts on the shows
Yeah.
collectively. The only show he watched the episode for this week was Kimono, so
oh,
Fuck, dude, not even the good show.
interesting.
It was
it's
the
the
early
only show that was out apparently when he watched content.
He didn't watch yesterday then. Feels bad.
That
Imagine
he-
not watching Horimiya the second you can when it's out, dude. Shaking my head. Unbelievable. So,
This is
what
gonna
have
be
we all been up
spicy.
to recently? What have we been doing? What have we been gaming?
Michael and I have literally owned. Well, actually, this is not true. We've actually caught up on all the anime we were watching. That is for this season. So we are caught up with obviously Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh,
Ladies and
Jujutsu
gentlemen,
Kaisen.
Jesus fucking Christ! Oh, by
Well,
the way,
best-
there's going to
best
be
fight scene-
strong language and spoilers on this
Oh,
podcast.
man.
Yeah, the best fight
Fancy,
scene of the
baby.
entire show happened this past episode.
It might be
I
one of the
don't know.
cooler scenes we've gotten this
I
whole
don't know.
season. I don't know if
Gojo
it's a
doing
better
anything
fight
is
scene.
pretty fucking sick.
yeah, I beg to differ.
I think it's a really good fight
I think
scene.
the best. I think the Toto and Itadori one's probably the best fight scene from this
Yeah.
show. That
Hands
was hard to compete with. Just the.
down. That and the first one.
I think the first part of it was better with like the whole like giant tree cinematic thing going on and everything, but it's up for debate, of course. That show has like 3 of like the top 10 fights of the year already, probably.
The most hype I have been watching this show was the moment we saw Fushiguro say the words
Domain
expansion.
Oh,
I
yeah,
was
no,
like,
that was
wait,
sick.
hold the fuck up.
That was
Wait a
kinda sick.
second.
I mean, you
Yeah.
kind of knew it was coming because that's like the next like power up that you can really get.
Yeah,
Is
because he doesn't
understanding how
have
domains
physical.
work.
He's not going to get a physical power. The next thing would be a domain expansion.
You're not just gonna flex on these people, you know what I'm saying?
Low key, his domain is kind of fucking nutty.
We didn't
Kinda
get to,
nutty.
and it's incomplete.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing too. So he's like actually has to aim his attacks; they don't just automatically hit.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're in it, they're still hitting. But the idea is that
Oh.
it doesn't lock them down like a normal domain would.
Well, no, because incomplete domains, we know that they could block or dodge attacks from like the curses, such as like the school and some other places.
Domains are. I don't
Domains
know.
are weird.
Yeah,
Domains are cool. but
Either
they
way,
are.
dude kind of smurfed it.
yeah.
My man's got like shadow clone jutsu going on over there. Like
Next week's the last episode of that show for this season.
I know.
I thought it was this week. I thought 24 was
the
it gonna be this
Horimiya's
week.
got 2
This
more
was
though.
23.
Yeah,
Was it
by the way.
23?
Mm-hmm. They took
yeah.
a
Oh,
we'll,
break.
shit.
we'll talk about that. Dodge.
That's also something else to figure out. Is that Horimiya actually has 13, so we have 2 weeks left.
Yeah. But again, depending on what shows go, we could narrow it down to a top 3 next week. We just wouldn't have a week off. We could talk about that later. It also depends on what goes this week.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Yeah, because only like 1 show is at like 11 out of 12 right now,
Yeah.
and airs like not on Sunday.
Yeah, I think 3 of them are at 11, but only like 1
Kimono
or 2
aired
of them are at
today.
11.
No, 2 of them are at 11.
Yeah, because Kimono doesn't air until today on Sundays.
Hmm.
So technically, only 2 of them are at 11 when we do podcasts.
Because
usually.
and we'll have to talk about the reason why this is the case now when we go over last week's stuff as well, which we'll only talk briefly about. We'll bundle them the best we can. Other things Michael and I are watching, Slime.
Yes.
Oh god, dude. If you're not
Bro.
watching this season the Tyrus Reincarnated Slime, fucking do it. It's so good.
I'm not.
Also,
haven't started
Jobless
that show yet.
Reincarnation.
Yeah, we're also watching Jobless Reincarnation. It's really good. This looks like it actually might be the turning point for this main character to not have a particular character trait of being a perv and make it horrible. We had a really bad. I think episode 9 was really bad. In terms of
there
like
been
him
some-
being a perv. We are now in like the ideal timeline where he can't afford to be a pervert, where he just kind of has to like survive.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
this show's background design is incredible. Like, its
This-
art is amazing.
I think if I both am sad and happy for different reasons that I didn't end up picking the show as my second. I'm sad because this show would have probably easily hit top 4, and either was getting voted off week 3 because of the pervy stuff, or was getting to top 4. There were no other options for the show.
And I'd like
But
to remind you
also,
what we had by week 3 of
Idly
this
Pride.
podcast. It would have survived.
Yeah, 100%. It would have.
But Idly Pride was funny to have it.
I mean,
because I thought it was
If
funny that
had
we almost had 3 idol
sequels
shows.
on this podcast, man, it would have been nuts.
Yeah,
But
Because,
the issue is
like-
that requires us to watch the
that
other
requires
shows
me to
before
have
that.
God.
watched that content. And
I mean, you're just thinking about like
unfortunately-
what was out this season though, like Reincarnation 2, ReZero, continuation of season 2, Log Horizon 3.
I haven't
which,
watched.
like,
Yeah,
I haven't even
watched
started
ReZero.
Log Horizon yet,
the
and
end
that's
of the
that's
end
gonna
of
be a
Attack
banger.
on Titan.
Attack on Titan 4, like
Yeah, that required
Jujutsu
watching.
Kaisen continuation,
Oh, yeah.
like it's nut. It's been a nut season, and like that's just not even including some of the shows we watched. Like the craziest thing is Horimiya is not going to get a season 2. I can guarantee that, and I'll talk about that once we get to the show. 'Cause I've actually started reading that.
I don't know if that
you
was
know-
the information you should have told me on this episode of the podcast.
I'm sorry, it's not getting a season 2 yet. It probably will eventually. 'cause
Oh,
it's
okay.
so
Well, that's a
popular.
separate.
But-
I wasn't expecting it to get it this year. I was like,
But no. I'll put it in perspective. I've been reading, and I'm close. I'm trying not to overlap with what hasn't been showed yet, right?
Mhm.
So like, if I see something that's like new, and I like or haven't, I basically read until I haven't seen like I've seen something that happened in the most recent episode, right? The stuff that happened in the most recent episode, I have not read yet. I'm on volume 11 out of 14.
Yeah, from what I understand, they're speed running this.
They actually they go all over. Like
Yeah.
they pull stuff like so for example, we'll talk about it more once we get into the show. I'll kind of pull some of the examples of where I found it in the actual manga. But like some of it's like volume 9 and volume 12 stuff are getting pulled into like the same episode, which seamlessly kind of works together. But I mean, we'll talk about it more. I love gushing about that
So,
show a lot. And
Going back
so
to
many good reactions.
Slime, fucking, I watched the last episode, and I couldn't fucking wait to watch the next episode.
good dude.
So I found a YouTube video that is going over the manga,
God damn it.
and I watched like 5 of those episodes. Now I was like, I just want to watch the action.
Dude, it's gonna be so good.
Yeah, for real.
And then we get to take a break, and then we get it again in the summer.
Oh,
It's gonna be so nice. Anime wise, I think that's all we watched.
what about gaming wise? What have you guys been playing?
Michael and I have beaten Danganronpa 1.
Yeah.
Nice.
We played too much of that game.
Yeah.
We are still going through
I
the
think we
side
played a
mode.
normal amount.
We are still going through the side mode of it to finish out like the character social link stuff that the game lets you do post game. We have 5 of the 14 characters you can do, so we have to do 2 more playthroughs of the side mode to finish it out. We've also started playing Danganronpa 2. That's going to be a
Haven't gotten
much
very far
slower
into that one.
process, but that's okay. I am currently exploding with anticipation because as soon as we clear Danganronpa 2, we can engage with all of the side material, and which includes the anime, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Awesome.
Did we do anything else, Michael?
No, I'm farther in Kingdom Hearts 3 than I was last time we talked about it.
Okay, where are we at?
I'm done with Monsters Inc.
Oh, I like Monsters World. I like
Yeah,
that.
no,
I like
that-
that
that's a really
they
good world.
created an original story for it.
Yeah, Monsters
the
Inc.
only-
and
It's
Toy
actually
Story are
real-
both really
it's
good because they
actually
have
really good.
original stories.
I personally think world-wise the only two that suffer are Frozen and Tangled.
Frozen is
Tangled
probably
was
the
really
worst
dumb.
adaptation in the history of Kingdom Hearts as well.
Pirates
I
is
would say.
like
Pirates
meh.
is iffy, but like
It does
I at least-
interesting things in it.
I like the world. I wish they did more with it in KH3. In KH1 and KH2 rather, I think they did a great job of adapting it. But then again, KH2 is just the best version of the Kingdom Hearts games. So
Final mix. KH2. Final mix.
I mean, yes and no. Even KH2 original is just so much better than like
Yeah, KH2
One.
original is a really good time.
just the design. But I've also been playing Kingdom Hearts
Oh, we know.
Wow.
quite a bit. Rando did not go so well this week for me. Lost in a seed that had a proof on fucking Sephiroth, which is one of like the worst checks if possible, and my opponent's like one of the only people who just does Sephiroth for no reason. So lost
He's
that
like
one.
the only person who's ever practiced Sephiroth.
I have to play against Biscuit047, who's one of the most popular cage runners out there. He lost his match about 20 minutes ago to CJ. So I'll play him in losers round 1, or I think it's like round 2 technically, to keep grinding in that bracket. Outside of that, I actually have a Kingdom Hearts any percent run to learn and do this weekend.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's soon.
Yeah, there's a marathon going on the 27th, starting at 7 a.m. Eastern, going all the way until like 1 o'clock on fucking the 28th, so on Saturday. And it's a relay race. 2 teams, bunch of different games. We have one final mix starting it off. We have Chain of Memories, Re-Chain of Memories, 3 different BBS categories, Point 2, KH3, 2FM, and DDD being run, which is basically almost every game except for like coded. So yeah, that's gonna be really exciting.
Good. I'm
I-
glad no one has to run coded.
I-
Good for
I'm
them.
on that speedrun actually isn't that bad, funny enough, but
Good.
I'm on the team that is called the Seekers of Darkness, and that'll be fun. But outside of that, been playing League of Legends recently. Been
Oh,
fucking
hi.
absolutely tearing it up in LHG, like
Oh,
absolutely
right, you have a
doing
team.
stomping people. I'm playing
Yeah.
on a team with our buddy Mike, actually.
know.
Funny enough.
Hi, Mike.
Not me.
And
Yeah,
Different
different-
Mike.
but I've been
the Mike formerly known as Mike 890501.
King Mike. King Mike, we
I,
call him.
I
King
butchered that
Mike.
number order, but it's fine. I slipped an extra one in.
But
I think.
but no, yeah, no, I've been Giga Smurfing for that team, and it's really fun. But
You buffed
outside
off
of
the
that,
one day I watched.
yeah, we're currently 6-3 with me on the roster. We've gone 2-1 every single series we played. But my stat lines is just like actually like not even fair. Like highest gold per minute, highest damage per gold, highest damage per minute of 80 carries that have played enough games. But yeah, it's pretty
Is
cool.
Elvis also on that team or no?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
It's
good. 'Cause
Mike
I was-
and myself, and then 3 other people that play
I was
together.
gonna say, because if Elvis is on that team, the podcast knows Elvis. He was once here,
Yeah, Elvis.
as were
Yay.
many people. Jackman, what are you up to?
Yes. Currently drawing.
Well, I know that.
Yeah. Trying to play League, failing miserably.
See, that's your problem. You're playing solo queue.
Yeah. But I've been
most broken role.
I've been playing some D&D a lot recently. I joined a random D&D session off of D&D Beyond, and it's pretty fun. We're like semi-villains, which is pretty cool. So it's like a group of 8. The original people are like the heroes, and we joined this world, and that the heroes have no idea about us type deal. And like we're eventually gonna fight, which is pretty cool. But
No, PvP.
yeah, we kidnapped one of their NPC lovers. The last session. But yeah, it's fun. I love D&D. It's fun.
D&D's good.
D&D is good.
Hooray for nerds.
I have D&D to upload for you, Jackman.
Oh,
I'll remember to do
Pog.
that. I'll get there. I promise.
pog.
So shall we get started?
I was gonna say, outside of that, I think we should get started. And ladies and gentlemen, it's finally time for it to shine. It gets to be talked about first. All the other stuff in front of it's finally gone. That's right,
Where's
baby. Back arrow.
Oh.
Bakieta.
I'll be honest with you. I like Back Arrow, like more than the meme I did earlier. I think the
Outside of this episode, yes.
I think the past 2 or 3 weeks for Back Arrow have been really good for it. That being said, I think Back Arrow is also not on the level of other shows on this podcast, and I'll be the first to admit that. This week. This week I'll be the first to admit that.
Wait, sorry, repeat that one more time?
That it's not quite on the level of other shows on the podcast.
No. I think it's a 2-horse race to see who gets voted off this week.
Well,
Yeah.
and see, that's rough because
There's 2 shows that are
shows are going off this week, so
I only voted one, funny enough, because I forgot.
wow.
voted 2.
It's okay.
Couple, actually.
I'll put in one extra vote. I'll talk about mine first then, because I forgot. But it's fine. It's fine. So yeah, tell us about Back Arrow. What's going on?
Yeah. So we had 2 weeks last week. Back Arrow's episode dealt with more of Princess Fine and her split personality, and we saw Back Arrow turn into a sword. I cannot explain to you how ecstatic I was over the thought that maybe they were gonna fuse, and that I got halfway there by him turning into a weapon for her. You know what? If this is what it takes to get the females in this show to do something, give them a sword. Give them a Back Arrow sword. God, I love how dumb this show is.
Yeah,
But
It is
we're
certainly dumb.
but
we're at war, and this week we've decided that Back Arrow's gotta be king, baby. That's where we're going with this storyline. So the only way to get over the wall, to get rid of the wall, is to rule everything in the wall. Legitimately think we have some good character moments for Back Arrow as a character. I think this episode does a good job establishing him as the Goku-esque type of character, but not in the same way as like Goku and Gen Mori, but in
Yeah,
like the
I can
opposite
agree with
direction,
that.
where he's like, I'm as passionate about the thing I'm motivated for. I'm gonna chase after it and do it, and I love my friends. But unlike Goku and Gen Mori, he's like, I'd rather just not have to kill people. This is kind of like, why can't you just like work with me here? And his mentality of, if these people are going to eventually, if these people have the chance of being allies in the future, why would I kill them now, works really well. And the scene where he punches the shit out of the female general works really well for, I think, his character, and kind of snapping her back to reality as she almost blew herself up, which I don't think would have worked. If I'm being real with you, if he stayed in his mech, I don't think she would have done that much to him, but what do I know?
Nope, probably not.
Yeah, especially because mech literally blocks giant mech attacks.
I do
Well,
also like laser shooting air combo that they pull off this episode, because they're like, well, if he can't fly, so if we just throw him into the air and shoot him a couple of times.
Yeah, they just do some combos. I really enjoy the leader of Rekka, old man with crazy fucking whatever bullshit he has.
I think he has something similar to like
Flame
the
whip.
I think he has something very similar to like the big old guy we saw this other week, the fucking
Yeah.
tiny face. I want to call him like the Praetor, but like that word is forever scarred in my brain.
Praetor.
You just said scarred. I hate
No, damn it! But you know what I'm saying? Like how he like ate a binder and it like
Dude.
formed with his body
Yeah.
or whatever.
Dude.
He's the
That
the
man
elect
is-
supreme. That's what it is.
The Elect Super.
Or,
That man
or
is
supreme
fucked.
elect.
Supreme elect.
We found our
Dude.
other antagonist this eventual show season. That man is
Oh, what do you mean?
grotesque.
He's great. He's a good guy.
I
swear.
do like his minions, like, attire. I'm always a fan of like the jester attire, and like, or like half jester mask stuffs. I think they're cool.
Yeah. Can't agree.
This show has the potential, by the time it's done, to be a solid 7 maybe.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm falling out of love for the meme of the show.
I mean, yeah, you've had to watch. You're about to have watched 11 episodes of it. Of
Yeah.
course, you fall out of love with the meme.
It's like,
This is when you have to fall in love with the show.
yeah.
Uh,
I don't know. I think once again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but good idea of a show, just poorly executed.
bro,
But
I will
it's
never.
slowly getting better.
I will never not laugh every time the doctor character looks at his sister and goes,
Stop.
I can't forgive myself for accidentally shooting you. And I go, I can't believe you accidentally shot her. The most unbelievable thing in this whole show, by far. Michael and I
was
had
a
a
I still
bird.
can't believe he actually just mistaken them for a bird.
But
That's
it's
the plot
so-
point we're going with.
It's
That's
so insane.
I thought like mind control or something. We'd get some stuff. No, he's actually just a fucking idiot.
Such an idiot. Michael and I had this conversation though. We do think the conviction thing might just be an odd translation. And that like
I think it's more like fighting spirit, and the idea is that with Back Arrow, he doesn't have a fighting spirit, like as in like the thing he doesn't want to kill people. That's why people don't die when they are killed.
he has no
People don't
motivation.
die when they're killed.
He has no motivation to like fight and like have to kill people. Like his motivation
Yeah.
is just I'm gonna go I want to go.
I want to
home.
get over the wall.
Send me home.
Yeah,
He wants to get to the other side. One might say.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll
yeah.
talk
He
about
wants
that
to have a
too.
picnic on the other side.
Yeah, there's not gonna. We have to. Okay, I have an interesting point to
hate
talk
us.
about next time when we get there. But yeah, that's Back Arrow. Are we fine with Back Arrow? Like to move on from that for now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think.
sure.
Let's talk
What's
Corey
next?
Mia. Dash,
Okay.
do you remember what it was last week before it was
Yes,
this
I
week?
do.
Good.
I definitely wasn't just writing down some notes about it.
Good.
So I, on a side note, have been reading, like we mentioned, Horimiya. I'm currently in volume 11 or like early 12, I forget. There's 14 currently out that are officially translated. I'm sure I can find, because it's actually been a monthly series. It's like a monthly chapter that's released like every month for so
It's a
long.
monthly one, not a weekly one.
Yes, which
But it's
sucks by the
monthly,
way. 'Cause
longer
That means when I'm
chapters.
caught up, I'm fucking pissed. So in episode 10, we had a lot about the last two episodes. We had a lot about our side characters, right? Because in episode 10 we were talking about Ishikawa and then the relationship between Kono or Sakura and Yuki, and we were expanding on that because the previous episode in 9 we had them faking being boyfriend girlfriend to kind of help turn down oh no he's hot number 6, which actually turns out he's a main character too, because it's just happy friendship time. But what we see in episode 10 is a lot of Yuki's kind of internal like depression, basically, of like, man, I really suck because I'm just a liar, right? And because she's so selfless, it ends up making her feel like she's super selfish. She's very much a everyone before me kind of person, and that hits way too close to home for me. But basically, she feels really bad about what's going on. Sakura eventually asks her if they're in a relationship, and she lies and says yes. And then Kono goes ahead and confesses anyways and says, I don't need an answer. Because she doesn't want one from Toru because she knows better. Because she thinks they're in a relationship and whatnot. And then Yuki, meanwhile, feels fucking awful because of this and ends up skipping school for a couple days. Until basically Toru tells her what happened. With Sakura asking him out. And then they have this like heart to heart on the roof where they use very terrible, nonsensical metaphors to try to make each other feel bad about snow and how snow doesn't melt because it gets hot, but because it wants to.
Yeah.
Because Sakura meaning spring and Yuki meaning snow. Because Japan names people based off of things, basically. Instead of just names. And then eventually at the end of the episode, we get this scene with President Sengoku and Sakura, where she's staring out the window, watching them walk away. And Sengoku had been like, "Oh, she seems happier lately." And meanwhile, Remy's the only one who's like, "No, not even close." Because people generally put up a front when they're actually really depressed. And then she ends up breaking down in front of him, and that's where the episode ends. Fast forward to the week after, we get more of this story. And we also get, I believe it was some of Sengoku and like Remy, or was that was a while ago?
That was a while ago.
But-
This week is we kick
Oh,
off
this week's
with,
about Sawada.
we pick off with pink hair a little bit. Him and
Remy.
Miyamura like bicker, and then we
Yeah, new
go
guy.
to black hair girl for a chunk, and then we close with Shu.
Did I miss a
Yeah,
fucking
the
episode?
shoe.
Wait a second.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, no, I watched this yesterday. And I kind of forgot about it. But basically, like you're mentioning, the episode starts with Miyamura and our new Oh no, he's hot guy kind of having a little bickering and a cute little argument in the hallway. And then we have a Sawada section, which, by the way, I haven't read yet at all about this Sawada part. And I'm in volume 11. So, like, it's at least volume 12 or later. But basically, Sawada who's closer to Miyamura because occasionally she comes over at night, because they're neighbors and everything, and they're nice people and they play video games and they're cute, because they both like Hori, because that's the main goal of everybody. Everybody likes Hori, but basically Sawada is still afraid of guys, and she kind of ranks them as of like approachability, where it's like, okay, Miyamura is like the top tier approachability, then it's like Toru, then it's like Sengoku's kind of down there, and then Ira is like, oh my god, he's crazy. And then eventually Yura and Sawada are like, man, I hope they don't hate me, because they're just trying to feel awkward towards each other. But then we get more on our boy Shu, who we've been missing for episodes after episodes, and it's focused on him actually for the second half of the episode, and his younger sister, who gets briefly brought up because Toru came over there and saw it. And so she's trying to get into this school called East High, but her grades are super average. And so her teacher basically says you should probably aim a little bit lower to be more reasonable. And to that, she was like, I see how hard you're working. He doesn't say that, but like, well, yeah, he does. He says he sees how like fucking worked her notebooks are and how hard she studies and everything. And he really wants her to succeed, so he sets her up with Hori to try to form a study group
as a tutor.
and,
As he sets her up with her as a tutor. We have to specify that in this show.
Oh my god. Just an episode.
But yeah, and so yeah, she kind of like breaks the ice a bit, and that's where we kind of leave off. But we love how this scene where like both Shu and his younger sister are kind of like, I just hope they don't hate me, right? Because they aren't honest with each other, and they're very polar opposites. Because Shu, we see this outgoing, like kind of energetic person, and then his sister's kind of very like meek and chill and relaxing. One more side note I forgot about was the little bit of Miyamura and Hori we got was basically her saying, I'm not worried about girls stealing you, I'm worried about guys. And going off on that tangent.
Did you miss last week's episode, Jackman?
I did. I missed this week's episode.
You missed this week's episode?
Yeah.
Well, that kind of gives a brief summary of it.
I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, that's basically this episode. But yeah. But to put in perspective of like where stuff is and has been in like the light novel, like episode 9 was like our Sengoku Remy intro, right? And that didn't come up until volume 10. The Yuki and Sakura story with Ishikawa, that was actually volume 9, which was before that. And then this stuff now, like the Shu and his sister, we got introduced like back in like volume 8, but like we didn't expand on the story until just now, which is probably volume 11 or 12. So it's like it's interesting to see how like, and this happens a lot, like similarly like the what's it called, Yuki and her sister, which we saw in episode 10 just now. That's a scene I saw back in like volume 6. So it's kind of like it's pulling from bits and pieces all over, which I guess with like manga like this, romance mangas where you have side stories with characters, as long as it's in that same season, you can kind of put it in whenever, as long as it makes sense.
I think it's using it very well.
And having read it all though, it uses it and adapts it fucking perfectly, like almost like word for word on the translations is what we're getting here. And like this, having watched the anime, I think helps so much more with reading, because when they have those scenes that we always love where it like goes gray screen with like the silhouettes, it adds another layer of depth, having like seen the visuals behind it and hearing the voices and hearing like the dialogue, so you can understand like how they're thinking. Obviously in manga panels you get a lot more mental thoughts than you can in like anime, because you can't have them thinking all the time. But yeah, outside of that, I think it does a really good job of adapting, and I'm excited to get through this week so I can fucking catch up and finish because I've been loving reading it.
Yeah, I really like what it does with Shu this episode, because it uses the stuff with Black Hair Girl to like bring out how energetic he is in a very clear way. And the whole thing with his sister is that he's not like that at home. He's very quiet, he's very stern. He's very like, he's cold to her, is how she describes it, even if that's not necessarily the case. That is probably my favorite part of this episode for sure. I wasn't too interested in a lot of the stuff in the beginning. It feels very like the stuff feels very gaggish.
Slapstick.
Yeah. This is by far really good. Like the Shu stuff's very interesting, and especially coming off the heels of last week, I understand why we get that gag break. But the stuff with Yuki and Toru is really well done.
Very heavy too.
Stuff, it's super. That stuff's so well done. Uh, yeah, my only concern with this show going in the top 4 would be I don't know how it's going to like put a bow on this season. Like I know it doesn't need to like conclusively answer everything or anything because I don't expect it to do that. Knowing there's a lot of content with this show, I just definitely want a clean stopping place or like a stopping place that makes sense to lead
Mhm.
into another season. So I'll be on the lookout for that personally, because this I believe is our only show, unless you know if Back Arrow makes top 4, baby. It's the other show that would have additional content outside of its 13 or 12 episodes this season.
I will
Yeah.
say, I think I know a definitive stopping point just from where I've read. That's probably what they're going to use. So I'm not too worried actually about how it's going to end. But I agree, like that's the only concern from like anime only. It's like, okay, but like where do you actually end this? Because like usually in romances, it's like they confess in episode 11, and then episode 12 maybe they talk together and kiss, or they confess in episode 12 and that's the end. Like credits are rolling during it. But here it's like, they fucked on like episode 5. Like,
How crazy would it be if they time skip? How
Good.
crazy would it be if they time skipped through high school into like first year college?
to like
Definitely
marriage?
could.
It goes like Clannad tier where like they're married and like have a kid, and
Because they're the second years now,
they're
right?
third years.
Or they're third years now.
They're graduating this year.
Yeah. That'd be pretty cool.
Jackman, what are your thoughts on the episode
Get in
you
there for
watched?
graduation or
Well,
something.
I didn't watch this last episode, but
Bummer.
I found the last week's episode was pretty funny. I enjoyed the Horimiya was like, yeah, I trust you around girls more than guys.
I can smell shit
yeah,
on you.
I thought that was pretty funny. And then he like goes up to his guy friends is like, I'm sorry, I can't be with you anymore. I thought that
We
was
need
pretty funny.
distance. I just like
Yeah,
how all the friends just like
each episode, Horimi's kind of getting like a little more creepier. I feel like we keep finding like these like weird things about her.
They
but no,
dialed that back this week for sure.
oh, did they? Gotcha.
Yeah. This week,
But no,
Hori's like barely in it.
Both
Oh,
of them are
really?
barely
Okay.
in it.
Yeah, they're like
I
they
did-
Merg
really
at the
take a
start,
backseat.
like yeah.
I did like the last week's the two main focus with the blonde hair girl and the purple hair dude. I like that. I thought that was a good conclusion or starting point for them. I think that was pretty cute, especially at the ending where they're like, "Well, I really like snow," and so on and so on.
They're really
Yeah, I thought it was
they're
good.
really setting solid those two Ys to probably not be touched upon for the rest of the next 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And in the same way, like Son Goku and Remy don't need to be talked about really either in depth. I think Sakura's probably fine in that regard too to hold off on. So really, what we have is if they want to finish off the stuff they bring in with Shu this episode, and then Pink Hair Boy, and like the backstory for.
My
for
only
Namura.
concern is that they're either gonna speed through something, or they're just gonna have like, kind of like, repeating filler episodes, or not filler, but like slowed down because like relationship, like how can you progress from like literally having sex to like being in high school to like not really.
Oh no, she's pregnant.
Oh god. But yeah, like I don't know. It'd be cool to see what they do, but that's my only concern is if like something happens where they slow down too,
Trying
a
to
snail's
hold my,
pace,
my
or they
comments
speed
until
through
after.
things.
I'm trying to hold my comments until after I see what gets aired in the anime, so I can tell some
you
funny
shut up.
stories that happen.
Michael, Horimiya thoughts.
So I think the 2 episodes ago or whatever, the one with about Yoshikawa and Ishikawa, very good episode. I enjoyed that one a lot. Past episode, I enjoyed the parts that Shin was important for. Honestly, couldn't care less about any moment Sawada was on screen,
Yeah.
because we already had all these. It's like, oh, it shows stuff about Shin, but like we already know Shin's the dude who just walks in, screams some random bullshit, and walks away. Like I really like the thing we got at the end, or thing with like when he's interacting with his sister at home, when he gets all serious. One of the best scenes of the show is done. But like other parts we were just like, oh, okay, we're just kind of vibing here, I guess. I don't know. I don't think it was a terrible episode, but I don't think it was amazing like some other things we got this
Yeah.
week.
I'd agree. I don't think it's the best episode in the show, but like, I think it is good to like build other characters. And I'm not. I haven't complained about an episode in the show where it's like, oh, the main characters aren't it. This sucks. You know, I'm always kind of
Yeah.
like, okay, you know, this character's kind of interesting. You know, this character could have their own little side arc. Like, yeah, I think it's interesting that like they do it so briefly though. It feels like it's like a flash in the pan of like a side character, and then like we don't see them for like 2 episodes, and then they come back and you're like, oh right, that guy. Oh, he got dumped. That sucks. Like,
This was like a 4 or 5 week break for Sawada, for her.
Yeah, it'd have been a hot
she's
minute.
only been in here one other
Yeah,
episode.
and it was
Yeah.
the episode she was introduced in, and she just wasn't there. So it was, yeah. Especially since I liked her character in the episode it was introduced, having her be predominantly for gag. Like, we obviously got to see some of her, like, development that had happened off screen with Miyamura, with her comfortability with men, but, like, for the majority of it, like, it was predominantly meant to be a gag. So, the gag served its purpose and its place to help with Shu and stuff. I understand it, but I definitely agree. The Shu stuff was a lot more compelling. It was also very clear we were building to it because we had the snow speckled throughout it again, which feels weird to have here. I mean, this is kind of one of those things where it feels weird to have this here now after we had such a big deal with the snow last week. That might be like the one little thing that gets messed up from swapping these two's places, is that like you have the snow start to fall here, and it's a really big deal last week too. So it's, but I think it winds up working. Horimiya's, I think, still strong. I don't think any of us are gonna disagree with that point.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Now
Excited to see the conclusion.
let's talk about Kimono Jihen.
Ooh,
Jackman, do you want some help with the stuff from last week, or do you know?
I think so.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, 2 weeks ago was the conclusion of the spider.
Mm-hmm.
We already talked about that.
Yeah, we already talked about that.
Last week we put
right.
last
Last
week
week
we
was
put
so
a bow on
dumb.
it for sure.
Last week
Yes.
was so fucking dumb.
Yeah.
Last week was his
Hated it.
sister, was Shiki, sister,
She was simping.
and
Sean,
some
apparently
more
you're coming through
called-
quiet on stream.
Am I? It could be
Yeah.
because I am back. Oh,
The
my
quiet
audio.
Bisharp said that too.
Yeah,
I was
my
just trying to
audio was
listen,
turned
yeah.
down. It should be better now. Well, we've
Tribute to
solved
me.
that
We don't want
problem.
Sean's opinions.
It's okay. I haven't said anything too important except for Back Arrow, so I haven't
Back
said
there being
anything
the
too
best show of the
important at all.
season or something.
But
Yeah,
no,
so
Fuck it up.
let's take that last week's episode real quick because I think it doesn't have a lot substantially outside of Kon being adorable.
yes, yes,
Kon's
100%.
Well, and also almost slaughtering Shiki's sister.
Also, Chiki's sister, who's like 8, simping over like.
Yeah.
Also, her attire's a choice.
Not a fan. Not a fan of the attire. Like the sudden character swap from super meek, quiet girl to like trendy like.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah,
Yoda
Michael,
is,
did
like,
I tell you who her outfit reminded me
Legato.
of? Freaking Clover from the transition from 999 to VLR. Clover's attire.
Oh, I think you may
Hush.
have mentioned it.
Yeah, it's the
Crop
same
tops are
color
great.
scheme too.
Not on 8-year-olds, please. Thank you, anime.
Yeah,
Mm.
that what was a little uneasy about the outfit change.
Yeah.
I think like the flirtation stuff's harmless because I think it's more just meant to be a gag
Yeah.
to like piss off Shiki, and it works in that
Yeah.
regard.
Shiki and our other Kitsune friend.
I wasn't sure if we were gonna get the episode we got this week, but Jackman, you want to talk about this week's episode?
this week I liked it. To be honest with you, it was a little slow at the beginning. I enjoyed her brother coming in town. It was like
His.
completely just one-shotting the fucking human, froze him in ice. I was like, holy shit, that shit just happened. And I don't know. I liked it. I thought the ice effects were pretty cool. Everything I felt pretty spot on. Learning that he has a life stone, or not a life stone, a
Null
like
Stone?
a death stone. Yeah, null stone
Or whatever.
was pretty cool.
Good.
I thought the ice castle was pretty cool. I just liked it. I thought it was a good episode. For sure.
I am glad that we are forcibly in a position now where, unless Kon is going to get involved, Akira has to solve this issue next week.
Has
Yep.
to do something.
Well, okay,
Yep.
okay, let's be honest. Kabane could probably just go fucking Super Saiyan and bust out of the
100%.
ice here, which might happen, but Akira has to do something.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
That's
If
the
Akira
way
does
this
nothing,
show
run away.
this show
missteps.
pisses me off.
That's the way this show missteps, I think, is if we... Like, Akira, this is the only room for Akira to grow. And we see in this episode that, yeah, Michael and I had a right to be pissed off about the being able to freeze from air, because his brother just does it.
Yeah.
And obviously he's more powerful, and that's the point.
He's got the broken stone.
But yeah,
I think it's because of the stone, but
Sasuke,
But
yeah.
the fact
Sasuke
that
looking
Akira
motherfucker.
could do literally nothing, and then he just casually makes an ice castle, I'll let it go.
I mean, it
just-
seems very clear from how the show's telling you that that he hasn't trained or honed his abilities at all, because he's
Yep.
just been living it up, and like maybe that's gonna change now, hopefully. It seems like this is probably gonna wrap up the show. This arc is probably gonna be where it closes for. This definitely has more content after this, clearly.
Yeah,
so
100%.
Hopefully, this gets its second season. I would really like it to, even if I don't necessarily think it's my number one show. I'd still like to see where this goes. As a shonen that's slow building,
Yeah.
I think it's slow build really well to where it's at right now. That I think
Like,
additional
also-
content would benefit it.
when they do like serious and dark scenes,
Oh yeah,
it's really good. It's just I feel like this if they do just this first season, it's a good like this is all the characters.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we're gonna go on from here type deal.
yeah, and I think we've kind of addressed like the only two characters who after this arc finishes we're not gonna have content on like in depth is gonna be Kabane and Kon. Like we aren't gonna have wrapped up their stuff, and that's perfect to go into a second season with.
Yeah.
Because their stuff centers around the main story and a potential main antagonist with the adult Kitsune.
Yeah.
Cannot agree more. No, I like it. I like the art style. I like how they don't really do fight scenes, but they show the fight in like a different way. Yeah, I don't know. I enjoy it.
It's a very
I think it was a good show.
character-driven shonen, which is
Yes.
interesting, and it's doing. And in a sea full of amazing battle shonens, I'm kind of glad because I don't think they could probably have matched up to what the animation level we get in like Slime and Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh yeah, no.
Like I just don't think it's possible. So, in a way, I think this benefits from that.
It's a
Daj-
very story-driven
yeah.
show.
Daj, you weren't the biggest fan of this show. Where do you sit?
It's not the worst. It's not the best. I mean, it's just kind of there. I don't hate Kimono Hen. I don't like. Again, like the Shiki arc was by far the best part of the show, outside of "Please Kill Me" at the very first episode, because that was the comedy episode of the season. But like that one frame just makes this entire show just like so differently skewed for me. But I mean, I think the 2 episodes ago kind of weird. I get it for the comedy value, but it's just like at the same time, it's like character design. I got a little sus there, guys, but didn't feel like that episode needed to exist, and the show would have been fine. I get it was just probably a bridge episode, for our characters like Cohen and stuff, and understanding emotions and all this fun jazz. But yeah, this episode, I'm not sure how I feel about it. We'll see how the arc resolves. Like I said, I think like Akira has to do something, which is good. And if they don't have him do something, I'm gonna be really disappointed. But yeah, it's not the best show we have left. It's not the worst show we have left. So I didn't hate it. Is what I'll go with for this week in the last couple episodes.
Michael?
You know, this show's fine. It in my opinion doesn't break the top 3. It's sitting in that.
Yeah.
Which one of these 3 is going to be number 4?
Well, if that's how you feel about it, let's talk about another show that is most certainly in that not top 3 range. Man, other side. I want to talk last week first, because last week we have our girls running around as Karate Girl gets stuck in the other side inexplicably, and our girls wind up following them through the elevator, chasing her down, and that and the idea we're just really hitting home this point that Satsuki has something weird going on with the other side, and that she's this main conflict. And then and they reestablish at the end of last week that they plan to head back to save the military men. Which for sake of their characters, I like the decision. I know this is by far the military men episodes were by far the weakest part of this show when we had them. But I think the idea that neither of them that it doesn't sit well with either of them to not go back and save these people from this weird dimension makes sense. Like, they're not really scared of the other side entirely anymore, and they understand their abilities better, that it makes sense for them to want to go back and bring them back. What we get this past week, I think is just as run-of-the-mill as Other Side had been. I think straying away from the Satsuki stuff hurts. And while we close with a character that looked like Satsuki, the problem is that Satsuki just being a tall, long, black-haired character means that almost every single yokai Japanese folklore involving women-esque characters can fit that narrative, which is probably intentional. But, so many of the stuff we've encountered has been women with long black hair that, it's hard to tell if this one that just appeared is Satsuki or not. The guess is, no, it's not. We're only going to deal with that on the last episode, I imagine. That being said, I still like Other Side. It's hard. This is probably the hardest show we have left for me to recommend to somebody. Because I have to be you have to really like Scooby-Doo and Yuri. If you want Scooby-Doo Yuri, do I got the show for you?
With a hint of horror.
It's thriller. It's by far a thriller show. I would not classify this as horror.
Sorry, thriller.
And I still think it does its thriller element really well. I think
there are some moments where tension builds up really well.
This show gets a little spooky. They get to have some more cute moments, and they also get, we're still at the point where Toriko's like, hey, you kind of look like Satsuki, smile. For me, by far, I'm definitely finishing this show out with how far we are in it, and I just hope it has a strong, clean ending. But I definitely personally don't think this breaks top 4.
Yeah, I am not the biggest fan of the show anymore. I kind of just lost interest with it. It just doesn't thrill me. I don't want to stick around to really finish the story, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it feels like there's just this void thing that has always existed, but is now just becoming this problem. But I don't know. Like I said, running broken record, cool idea, just poorly executed. That just seems to be the theme of the season.
Are you telling me Scar on the Praetor was a good idea but poorly executed? Are you telling me X-Arm was a cool idea but poorly drawn?
X-Arm could have
X-Arm
actually
was
been a
beautiful jump into satire. What do you mean?
Telling me I Start You was
good show, poorly executed?
X-Arm declared war on the entire sci-fi genre.
Then
promptly realized that wars cost money.
Are you telling me 2.43 is a great idea but poorly executed, and that it could have been Haikyuu?
100%. That's probably the best example. It could have been a really good volleyball show, just poorly executed.
Yeah.
Other side thoughts. We haven't had a picnic yet. That's probably my biggest gripe is they've never picnic on the other side, except for maybe the beach episode, but they didn't really.
You could call what they did on the beach episode picnicking.
Yeah, I just still don't get the show. What's the
yeah,
goal?
I was really hooked I was really hooked for the show at like the
Episode 2.
very beginning. Yeah. It's like I thought the whole idea of like this whole different world, and I thought like the whole trading system was really cool. That was never brought up until like 3 episodes ago or something like
Hey,
that.
they joke about it this week.
Yeah, and it's like, what the fuck happened? Why is this just not a plot point anymore? You know?
Why is the character that they're selling things to just kind of a neat? Like, it just a lot of the stuff that's going on just doesn't make very much sense to me, and
Yeah, I think the show
it doesn't feel like
needed
it
more
has.
time.
It doesn't
talk
have like
about
direction.
characters.
It's just like we're just going for the sake of going, or like we're just getting dragged in because the plot demands us get dragged back in. Like, I liked kind of like the episodes where it's like, okay, this person got cursed or whatever, and we have to go solve that problem. Basically, I think that's
Yeah.
fine, right? And like the whole tooth thing, that was brutal, but well executed episode. What the fuck's the point in the eye if she's not gonna be able to use it outside of seeing things? You know, what's the benefit to having this? Like, why are they saving the military now? Why did the military have to exist to begin with? Like, I just
That's the more important question.
yeah, why is this a plot point to begin with? Like, what happened to just trying to find her friend? That could have just been the whole story. Friend, definitely not antagonist. Friend, not the problem. Friend. But she's hot though. Yeah,
So
I don't
we've
know.
heard.
Other side is weird. I'm just not a fan. I haven't been interested for like since the military episode in like episode 6. I just like my interest curve just was like,
Yeah. I was on the fence for the show for like quite a while. And I was just like, yeah, nothing's really like entertaining me anymore. Like,
it just feels like the same episode, but like
slightly
this time
different.
with monkeys. This time we're beating the shit out of grandma. Like, I don't know. I have no more thoughts. Anyone else have any more thoughts?
No thoughts, head empty.
Let's talk about something totally radical.
Yo, Jackman, you get to
Yeah.
only talk about one episode because last week was a
Yep.
recap, but it was a 9.5
Mm-hmm.
recap. It was an 9.5
Yes.
recap.
Which
so
means we have
Which
two more
is
episodes?
better.
we have 2 more
We have 2 more?
episodes. So
That's good.
if our top 4 is Kimono, Skate, Egg, Horimiya,
Which will be.
we can cut to a top 3. We just won't have a
can.
week off.
Yeah.
So we can debate that because who knows? Maybe back
I don't know.
break
Kind of
top
want the week off so I can just read all of
4.
Horimiya.
Okay.
Joe, talk to me
I-
about Skate, dude.
Okay. The recap is a recap. I mean, like it's like whatever. But this week's episode, I thought was pretty decent. I thought it was pretty good. We got to. It started off with Cherry just being completely demolished, being taken back to the hospital, and then just like some back and forth bickering, and Reki is just completely depressed, like for no reason. You get a scene where well, he's no reason, but like he's at his family dinner table eating breakfast, and I didn't even know he had this many fucking siblings, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's
We've,
3.
we've
But-
seen them once.
Yeah, I was like, what
Twice.
the fuck? His family's massive. But his like I guess older sister
It's probably his younger
Uh,
sister.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
his
old-
younger
but
sister.
the oldest of his other
of
siblings.
his two other
Yeah.
siblings, calls him like an idiot, and he's like, "Oh, cool, yeah, I am." And then he trips on his skateboard, and he leaves, and then he comes back and picks up his skateboard. So he's like, "I still love skating." And a little bit later, he goes to just like a street corner or like street area, and he sees his like typical gang members that he apparently joined a group for, skating, and quit like was it like 3 months or something like that, or like
I
shorter,
don't
3
remember,
weeks or
but
something
yeah,
like that.
Not he wasn't there for a
Um,
long time.
Yeah, and he essentially just got beat the fuck out, because his board was dumb, and yeah, I don't know, I enjoyed it, seeing him just fucking beat to shit in this fucking hallway. I felt pretty sad for him. It's like this dude literally has no purpose anymore, but yeah, he's still just failing. But yeah, I like it.
Then he gets isekai'd.
Then he gets isekai, yeah.
gets isekai'd by a car, out of his depression, baby. If only it worked that way. Wakes up in a love hotel.
Yeah, fucking, and then also the fucking cat dude lost
Mm-hmm.
to
Snake.
Adam's old servant,
Yeah.
which we found out.
He's his current butler.
Yep.
Yeah, he's like his
was supposed to
assistant
take
in the
his-
political world and was a butler for his family.
Yeah.
The
He's the
biggest
one who's supposed to
relationship
take
is,
the
like,
fall when Adam gets found out about the whole.
Have any of you guys watched
whatever.
Kaguya?
I have.
It's very much like Hayasaka and Kaguya's relationship is what I view it as.
Yeah, it's
That
very
makes sense.
similar, except like
They grew up together, and one like basically like is like
except
the-
Kaguya's a lot nicer.
Yeah. Yeah, Kaguya isn't
And
a villain.
significantly less
per se.
rapey, I think.
Yeah.
yeah.
I can give you
Oh
that.
no. Oh no.
No, it's fine. I'm joking. It's good.
What the fuck happens in season 2?
Oh, just wait till season 5. Phew.
Oh god.
Yeah, no, but I mean, we get the reunion after Reki's like, yo, fuck you, random dude who took me to a love hotel to bribe me into not suing you for barely damaging your car.
Yeah.
I like to skate. And he goes, oh shit, I like to skate. Skating's supposed to be fun. I gotta go talk to Longa. And then his family's like, you missed Longa. And he's like, well, I gotta go find him. And then they almost kiss like 3 times in
Yeah.
that skate park.
I mean, yeah, they didn't kiss, but you know,
They added the infinite to their handshake.
yeah,
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
hand
it doesn't-
kissing.
That's awful.
And then we have the other main point, which is since Mia lost, it's gonna be Longa versus Snake. And Shadow got his skull beaten by the dude who's Michael.
yeah.
Michael Goodgrap. It was the guy from the earlier episodes. He's the one
Yep.
with his hood up, and we saw him back there because he was following Shadow,
Why?
and because
what?
he's mad at Shadow for making his girl leave him, I guess.
But because he lost to the other kid?
Oh,
Like, I
There
don't.
was, there was a lot of violence
it's-
this
How
episode.
did that happen?
it's because he chickened out of the race because race with Shadow when Snow hopped in. I assume. I think it's that.
I think
race
that's what
where
it
they
was. It was
race
like-
after the fact.
The first or second episode.
Yeah, he wimped at it. Yeah, he ended up chickening out of that race, which like she was like, oh, blah blah blah.
I don't
Yeah.
Um,
But
get
now,
over it. Like,
now we've opened the door for
for
Reki
Reki to
versus
find a way
Adam.
to fuck.
I'm so fucking pissed that they did this. I'm so upset.
I am okay with this as well as long as it's executed well, and the show has
Yeah.
executed everything else perfectly fine. That I have no worries it's gonna hit this home too.
I simultaneously like this and fucking despise it at the exact same time because
it's
I'm
a
like,
real
I
weird
knew
way
it
to
was
get 'em
coming.
in.
but like, it wouldn't. It doesn't even make sense for him to win
It
because you know
doesn't.
he's going to. It doesn't make any fucking sense for him to even have a chance because he hasn't skateboarded in like 2 weeks. Like,
Nah, see, he's gonna have a
he's gonna learn a
we're
new
gonna have
trick.
a 2-day training montage where he's gonna get Carla, be trained by Joe, be trained by Mia, be trained by Shadow in the art of being an asshole.
Remember when we thought Mia was gonna ride Carla and then instead got his ass kicked.
Well, yeah,
then
and instead that bit was used for the recap episode.
Yeah, that was really good.
I do want to say, it's been confirmed the reason that this and Wonder Egg got recap episodes was production issues.
Oh, really?
They just needed that extra week.
And-
to
Why
do stuff.
get the extra episode though?
So, the interesting note here is that this is like kind of crunch stuff that's come to pass. Like they needed the recap because recaps are used when you need more time to work on something, and if you need
Yeah.
more time, the best thing you can do is reuse animation you already have. To me, this means this means one of two things. Either Skate was like, we don't want this to take up the extra slot, and like Bones has an easier time being like, hey, we want this to be a 0.5 than Cloverworks does.
Yeah.
And maybe it's the idea that what Cloverworks wound up doing was taking a part of the story they already had in mind, which was highlighting Ura and Akka, and just tying it to a recap episode, which has kind of worked with the way we've gotten stuff from them. We'll talk about that literally in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, okay. So with the recap thing, I am perfectly content with a 0.5 episode.
Yeah, I
But
don't
I'm
have an issue with 0.5. Losing
yeah, but
the
I'm
episode
not
in
when
egg
you
is
lose an
frustrating.
episode. Yeah,
For sure.
100%, 100%.
Especially in a
It's
show
also-
that you know isn't getting a second season, like Wonder
Yes.
Egg.
It's also really interesting that Egg has production issues and Horimiya doesn't. Because they're both Cloverworks.
Horimiya is not an original story, though.
That's where I think the issue is here, and I think the problem comes more with not the director and writer himself, but with things surrounding how, like, the people overseeing it were like, maybe don't do that, and there was some issues. But the main takeaway is, crunch is bad in every industry and shouldn't happen, but it does.
Oh, real quick,
Pay your animators,
real
please,
little
Japan.
tangent.
Japan, please pay your animators.
What's your opinion on the new beta Crunchyroll?
I haven't seen it.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Crunchyroll's got a new beta format, and I'm not a fan.
Everything's on Funimation right now, so I don't really even use Crunchyroll.
Funimation
everything-
is just dog shit.
Everything
It-
except
True,
for like
true, Dodge,
ReZero
true.
is on.
I watch
and, like,
everything
Basic.
on Funimation on my premium account as it comes off. Everyone, you should support anime legally. This part's not a bit.
Okay,
You should support
Actually watch
anime
everything
legally.
on the
One hot
podcast
topic.
on Funimation
Crunchyroll?
because I mooch off of my friend, but that's besides the
Crunchyroll
point.
no longer has a random button on their beta mode.
Ooh, that's
and that
unfortunate.
pisses
That-
me
That's
off.
the worst thing for
That's
you.
like half the
Pisses
fun.
me off. 'Cause that's
Yeah.
how I find most of my animes. I hit that random button.
Oh, I forgot to mention the anime I was watching as well at the, in
Well,
the start.
We'll get.
We'll talk
We'll,
about
Sorry,
we'll, we'll tie it
back-
at the end.
Back on
Right.
topic.
Yeah, but no, seriously, watch anime legally, and like, if you really like something and you didn't watch it
Buy it.
legally, go watch it legally or buy stuff so that
Buy manga.
yeah, it
Hashtag-
gets supported.
Bookwalker.jp/en. Now that
bunch-
we're sponsored, please sponsor us.
A bunch of shows I like haven't continued because they don't sell, and that's unfortunate because they're good.
Cough, cough. No game to life. Cough, cough.
There's so many, dude. I could name so many.
But- But I
Um,
understand No Game of Life doesn't have like story to continue with at this point.
It
did,
feels like
did
it
back
should.
then.
I don't
Like,
know.
I
If,
get
I
the-
don't
I
know
get-
if
like,
that
they-
movie did anything for it. I don't.
Back,
I
back
the
then,
movie
biggest
was a
issue
prequel.
content,
Or I
but
thought.
the fuck.
Or
Okay.
the movie's like filler prequel bullshit.
Back.
It's
And like there isn't like stuff with the production and like they use most of the source material. Like they were making more and then it stopped. I don't remember the exact reason. Blah blah blah.
Back to Skate.
I think Escape real good. I
It's good.
personally
I
think this recap. I think this was a really good recap episode. Because it highlights a lot of things from early on that you may have forgotten of, like things that happened between Reki and Longa. Because the big part of the episodes generally were the S's that happened at the end, and this was all in the first half character vibing times. And you get a lot of moments where you're like, oh yeah. They talk a lot, and we see a lot about how Reki's really smart when it comes to making skateboards. Like he's really knowledgeable about skating. And this new episode, really good. I enjoy how one of my favorite bits about it is one. I found it really funny he got hit by a fucking car. That was really good. And I like the idea is that he got hit by it. Then later the same scenario happens, but because he skated across the street, he didn't get hit because he was moving faster. And I think that's real nice little symbolism, metaphor, shenanigans.
also shows that he was paying attention. Wasn't
I
as
think
depressed.
I
I
mean,
think
yeah.
the show turned like a complete 180 halfway through. Like it was okay, and then like they got to like the training part, and it was like, oh, let's fucking just pile drive like character driven, like emotions into these people, and then skate secondary. You know, if you look at it, it's almost like what 343 wanted to do,
Yeah.
but just with skating, which I think it does a better job at the sport aspect, even if it's like made up type deal.
A really cool thing this episode does in the beginning is when Mia's skating against Snake, they do the, oh wow, he skates like Adam, and the way they do it is by having him have to like navigate through the debris, and it just makes it look like he's dancing like Adam does, and that's a really cool way to show that. Without like
Yeah.
just flat out having him do exactly what Adam does. Like it's just there's the skills
Yeah,
that
that's good
Adam
design.
does for fancy shit, but being used practically. I mean, I imagine there are a couple ways that this top four can like finish out, and like I don't know which one I like better between Reki and Longa both winning and racing each other, or between Reki and Longa both losing. I think I think as long as they both do the same thing and it doesn't have to just wind up being Longer versus Adam in the end, I'm probably fine with it. But I think there's a way that if even that happens, it's okay. I just feel like if they both win or lose together, it's gonna feel better with how the show's built it.
I think if Reki wins, the other guy drops out because he has no more reason to skate because
Adam's
our
already
main
lost.
antagonist is out. Adam's out.
We also still got to see this redhead come screw things up because she just hasn't been here. So
Yeah.
and we know she's trying to crack down and get Adam busted. So we'll have to see.
Yeah,
I imagine the
we had
show
the
just
police intervene with it
once.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I
Yeah.
just
I was
imagine
gonna
the
say,
show ends with Adam getting arrested.
Yeah, I mean, he's in legal trouble in real life. Like, he's actually gonna be put on trial for perjury pretty soon. But like, I like how the police, like side note, I like how the police came and broke it up one time, and then like we're like, they wouldn't go back there.
They would never go
Ever
back.
again. Back to the same hill. We wrote it down the seventh time.
We took a week off, and just like they did, we took a week off, and no one
We took a
expected
break
it.
and went on vacation, and then Eth was back at the same spot. But we're also not gonna like Reki's not gonna be letting the door, guys. Like he doesn't have his badge anymore.
Yeah,
I
shit.
think
How's he
he
gonna
could-
get it?
He could probably just take fucking cherries.
True.
Yeah.
Also,
or
executive.
Adam's gonna fucking mail deliver him one in like a little heart-shaped envelope.
Adam's just
like-
gonna beat the shit out of the guards and just be like,
Yeah.
"Come on in."
Or Adam gives him a new one, or he goes in with Longa because that's what
Oh.
Longa got in the first time.
There's a lot of ways to do
Just
it.
long
That'd
bat?
be really cool if he gets in off of Longa's badge. That'd be real nice little character moment.
He's also
'cause,
got to
like,
fix Longa's board
Yeah, he
before
needs to make
Longa
yeah.
races.
he ain't fixing. He's making him a fucking new one. You can't repair that.
Who
Oh, well,
knows?
Skate's
Maybe you can.
a show.
I
Yo,
like
he's
it.
gonna make a new one.
It's
It's gonna be
interesting.
like purple
I like
because
it. I like
the
it.
mixture of red and blue or some
Ooh.
bullshit.
Ooh.
Can they just kiss already at the end? Like,
Honest, it's this show
Push-
is like I've never
this is
seen
the
a
first
show
time I'm
so
like, if you could push the
openly-
gay agenda some more, that'd be great.
I've
like,
never seen a show so openly be like, yeah, these two guys are probably in love with each other, like in a gay way,
Dude,
and then
this
not
season
have
has
them kiss in the most kissable scene possible this
This
week.
season
Bro,
has hit on
243
Yuri,
is the only
Yaoi,
other
and
show that
trans
does
rights. Like, come on,
You
let's
know
go.
what I want?
Let's go,
you know what I
anime.
want? I want Reki to win, and then like they're like, he's like, you want to try snowboarding? And then they just go on like
You
a
wanna
winter
know the
vacation,
Hokkaido?
and Reki tries snowboarding for the first time. I think that would be fucking hilarious.
And then in the background, let's go together. Just like,
Like this show is set up perfectly for the Reki Longa skate each other as the OP plays. Like,
100%.
like come on, I can write that. And Michael made a very good point that this show could very easily pull the kind of stuff that like shit like Yu-Gi-Oh does, where it's like your two main characters are about to battle, fade to black.
Like the Yugi Joey duel where it just fades.
There's a couple of it that it does that for, but I mean, I'm excited to see how Skate ends.
I am too.
Hey Michael, I'm handing you a gun. Shoot us with Wonder Egg. We have
How
2 weeks
power.
to talk about. One's a
Oh,
Nehru
fuck.
week, the other's a Momoe week.
Yeah. So this fucking show, it's going places. I didn't expect it to go anywhere near where it's fucking going. It's a wild fucking time. Yeah, so 2 weeks ago we had the shit where we learned that Nehru's company has devices that can read dreams, so they can like read into the dreamscape when they go into the other whatever the fuck it's called, but they call it the other side.
It would make
They're
more
free-
sense.
Pretty close.
They're,
gonna lie.
they're dream worlds with this whatever the fuck, Xeno evils and haters and blah blah blah.
the Wonder Egg world.
The egg dimension.
The egg
Um,
domain.
So I
The
think that
plane of
episode was neat
existence.
because we end up learning that Akka and Uda Akka are connected to Nehru's secretary for some fucking reason. I don't know.
We get the explanation this
we
week.
get the explanation.
We get like half an explanation this week. They start
That's
getting
not-
an explanation, then the other girls realize, wait, Momoe went on a date. Fuck this shit. Let's go say hi.
Let's go figure out girl talk. Girl talk takes priority. Can we talk about the fact that
It takes
Niru and
Wonder
I
Egg
literally
priority.
fucking murdered somebody? Technically, they basically unplugged the vegetable machine, but like,
Yeah, no, Oh yeah, that was part of the Neighbor episode. That was
Yeah,
a
that
wild
happened.
time.
They did unplug someone's life support.
Yeah, but,
Like-
I mean the person also said to unplug their life support in the egg.
That doesn't hold up in court.
Yeah, it doesn't hold up in court. That,
Just
But-
because I
but
spoke
thankfully-
with this
but
person
like,
in
the
the dream.
thankfully they're
was-
all orphans, so no one's taking them to court.
Yeah, but like that person was already like assumed dead or whatever. So like, blah 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 shenanigans.
It was just strictly so that weird
didn't want
science
to donate her
people
body to
couldn't
science,
take their
basically.
bodies and be like, ooh.
she didn't want to donate her body to science. That's the TLDR.
I mean, I also wouldn't want to donate my body to creepy old
Fair.
scientists.
I mean,
do.
like, if you're an owner, fucking organ donor, like,
Well,
come on.
organ, yeah, everyone should be an organ donor,
Listen, they
100%.
gotta figure out
I mean,
how-
that's
I want to donate my body to science because I got to figure out how this massive cranium fits inside the width of my skull.
Look,
like, let's be honest.
if you didn't take away the most important lessons from Angel Beats, it's that you should always be an organ donor.
So
I don't know, man.
Then
Ah.
in this second episode, holy fuck, the show just turns. Somehow it took until episode I think episode 10, I think it was this past week.
Yeah.
It took until episode 10 for us to finally have a trans character as one of the egg victims.
Trans rights. Woo!
I'm surprised it took this long for Momoe to have a trans character as their thing.
It
And,
just
you know,
took this
yeah,
long to
trans
talk
right, it was
about
great.
Momoe.
We only had one episode
It
with
was-
Molly going into the dream realm.
Yep.
We had like 1.5.
How many episodes are left of the show?
Two.
Two.
This episode's extremely well handled with the Momoe stuff. Really well done.
Yeah.
I think the Momoe
I
stuff's
love
done
that
really
part
well.
of this episode.
I like the stuff where Momoe.
It's the part of the episode you're supposed to love.
It's the very end.
Yeah,
that you
it's
hate.
very good.
Before
And-
we
and-
jump to that, Michael, let's talk about the Aka reveal, which is that they were both oh no hi, and
yeah,
were
they're
once
both
human.
hot men who were connected to who were doing
They were
weird
like
mad
fat-
science
they were like
bullshit.
Big in Nehru's company, and then they had their
or
bodies
something.
transported into egg realm.
No, just their brains.
just
Yeah,
egg
no,
realm.
their-
Sorry,
yeah, their
egg
brain is
realm.
now within an
Their
AI
brains are
dimension
now
or
basically
something.
like dummies, basically.
Yeah, and they're
Um,
doing something funky.
And we learn
Yeah.
this show takes a massive turn. Apparently, the show's connected to Greek mythology. Because apparently, the reason that Akka and Uraraka are creating these weaponized girls to save
Say it.
people is so they can fight Thanatos.
They're killing God. We're a JRPG now, boys.
They're killing the god of
Death.
death.
God of
Time.
Yeah,
I'm
the
pretty
god
sure
of
it's
death.
time, right?
Yeah,
God of
Thanatos is death.
Specifically, the god of
Thanatos is death.
non-violent deaths. The god
Wait,
of non-violent
okay,
deaths.
He's
let's
the god
clarify
of
this
death.
point. Let's
Whether
clarify
it's violent
this
or
point.
non-violent, it's just death in
Well,
general.
he's technically
Thanatos.
non-violent,
So
but yeah.
Thanatos is non-violent in certain readings of the mythology, which is, and I'm only bringing this up because the Thanatos we see in Wonder Egg is very clearly,
Violent.
at least in the way he it acts,
Unle-
is
un-
not.
unless that
passive.
isn't Thanatos, but yeah.
But the interesting thing is, yes, obviously a lot of the stuff we're talking about death-wise in Wonder Egg would be classified under the peaceful death that Thanatos rules over. So in that regard, it makes sense that Thanatos is here, but like, I don't necessarily think it's a bad reading of Thanatos to then have Thanatos go and do horrible things. But the other
He's not
the other
doing horrible.
point here is that they're also talking about like Eros, the god of love, and like
The god of horniness.
the other god of love and like sex and like
Yeah.
intimacy outside of Aphrodite in Greek mythology.
Yeah.
Because they mention like using Eros to like fueling Eros
To
to
fight
kill
Thanatos.
Essentially, Cupid, in a way.
Yeah, it is the Greek version of Cupid because Cupid is Roman mythology. You were correct.
Yeah, if-
Fucking
Dude,
But-
all I'm
but
thinking of is
also-
fucking Smite now.
So also, Momoe near the end finishes her egg.
Mhm.
She has done it. She saved the person from the statue, and they then go off. They're
And
not
die.
saved. They go off into whatever they're going to, which I think kind of maybe confirms possibly our
They
idea
get to
that this is like a
purgatory?
purgatory thing,
Yeah.
and they're like being released from it. I don't know.
Suicide
Bro,
leads to purgatory.
show-
And then all of a sudden, a person appears who goes, "Hey, see, I don't like what you just did there. Now you need to die. This person has a butterfly for a head, and I was not prepared
It
to
is
have a
Thanatos.
butterfly for a head."
And a
that-
giant fucking scythe.
And
Yeah, and they have a giant scythe, and they attack Momoe, and Momoe barely gets out of the dream dimension before
We don't know
getting
how.
murked.
but the implication is
Maybe.
that Thanatos is like, I appreciate the reasons why you did this, but the fact that you did this makes me very upset, and I must kill you. But I don't want to kill you, so what if I kill your alligator crocodile?
Well, the alligator defended Momoe.
It's crocodile, because they make a very particular
The
point
crocodile,
about it.
yeah.
The crocodile defended Moe, and then it just kind
Yeah.
of.
Boy!
It ate the haters in a sea shit.
Do we get a scene?
Holy fuck! This episode ends with one of the most heartbreaking fucking scenes of the
I
show.
was gonna mention the part where Thanatos forcibly causes Moe to eat crocodile organs.
That
Oh,
was
that happens.
fucked.
Yes. And then Momoe gets out,
And
and then you see Momoe.
She eats chicken
uh,
for dinner, and she recalls the scene.
Oh my god! I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
this
it's chicken.
show-
It's
crocodile
chicken.
tastes kind of
It's
like
because
chicken.
Thanatos makes the. Oh my god! And then at the end we see her sitting in her room, quivering, saying, "I can't go to sleep. I can't go to sleep," with the implication that if she goes to sleep, she goes back to the egg dimension where Thanatos is sitting there waiting.
And Akka and Uraraka specifically say there's problems in their plan because they definitely can't. They don't think they can rely on Momoe again because they don't think she's ever gonna want to go back. And we have an plot point that seems to be messing with their plan somehow, which is that I decides to go to Teacher Man's Counselor Boy's art show, and surprise, the painting at the back isn't Koito, it's I, but older. Man, I've never felt as uncomfortable as when that man delivers the line, yeah, you're beautiful and strong and like just impressive, just like your mother. And I go, because as much as like they keep going, you love my mom, and he goes, yeah. Every time he turns around and compliments this little girl, I feel very uncomfortable.
I really don't think.
I can't tell if it's a
I can't
bait.
tell if they're just painting him as like this Captain Rapey, but like at the same time, like you don't know if he's just a good guy. Like he's just trying to be a good person. Like I like that part of the show.
It's intentionally there for that reason, and
Yeah, I think that's fine.
it's uneasy every time, and
It's not easy to know these things.
yeah. But the implication seems to be that Akka and Uraraka think that Ai's just gonna stop. Cause like her problem, because we get cut off before she gets her answers, but she's asking why Koito died. And if she gets that answer, she might not need to go save Koito. Which would be apparently a problem. Man, we're really gonna get like slapped in the face real hard the next 2 episodes, aren't we, guys?
We're gonna be fucking going 0 to 100.
Dude, this show, I'm so confused when I watch this show. I have like no idea what the fuck's going on. Like 95% of the time. I don't know if it's just because like my brain just like tunes out certain things, but it's like halfway through the show, I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? And it's like I just like can't wrap my head around like just like everything. I don't
Well,
know.
you have a recap episode you can go back and watch to catch you back up.
Fuck that recap.
On an actual fun talking point that isn't about the recap, it was only after this episode where we've introduced the concepts of Thanatos and Eros that my brain went, oh yes, Thanatos, the brother of Hypnos, the god of sleep, and I went, god fucking damn it! As I realized the whole central point of this is that they're getting closer and closer to death because of sleeping, and that's how they interact with this world, and
Reading so much into Greek mythology is fun, isn't it? I played Hades too.
yeah, everyone should play Hades. It's a real good game. I mean, I was a big fan of Greek mythology before Hades, but
Hey,
So,
if you guys should look at mine and Sean's profile pictures. Or
yeah,
something.
they're definitely not at all related.
They're definitely not just like Hades fan art or anything. Like.
Definitely not good Hades fan art. You
So
should support artists on Twitter.
Wonder Egg is such a conflicting show for me because the first like 5 or 6 episodes, I was super hooked. I was super into it. I was super looking forward to it, and now I'm really, really upset with the direction they took. Like they could have kept expanding on this whole idea of like suicide and all some poor stuff. They didn't need a conclusion to this story. You don't need to wrap it up in a bow, right? But instead, we kind of like take this sudden twist of like, there's bad guy scientists, but they're actually good guy scientists they're actually bad guys because they're trying to kill God. Like, why are we trying to kill God?
I need
With
this
4
show.
girls who are just depressed over their friends committing suicide. Like,
I need to see how this show ends before I get my opinion on whether I think this decision is good or bad.
I don't care whether they wrap it up
Yeah.
nicely or not and the ending's good or not. I'm really upset with the direction they took with this show, just because I feel like the first 6 episodes set such a good tone, and then they completely just shifted like what felt like the goal of the show, right? Like, it went from like the story of like, okay, we're trying to like get over like this tough topic, and like how they
Yes.
portrayed these topics and like this other world was really well done, and like the characters they were interacting with were really, really interesting. And then now it just kind of is like rushing through that part of the world of like, egg sleep save, egg sleep save, egg sleep save, into like, okay, now we have to kill God. Like, I don't like that. Like, I don't know if I'm the only one here, but like, I just really did not like the direction they took. And like,
Yeah, so I will agree with that. Like I
Like,
said previously, I really thought the whole idea of like the suicide idea was like a good idea for these main characters to like work through. And like I was like trying to think of ideas of like how they're not like actually all alive, right? And like I was just like I was like trying to like put these like plot points together at the very beginning, and then like just like none of that happened, and I was like, okay, I can see where I was wrong. Okay, now where the fuck am I? What the fuck's going on? Now we're killing gods. It's like, what the fuck? But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I desperately I desperately don't think that this show is throwing out its themes and premises to do like this cool action like kill god stereotypical plot point. I just need to see how it ties. Like I need to see what they're doing with it. Like for me, I can't imagine. I'm gonna be sorely disappointed with this show if by the end of it it has strayed so far from what it had done up until literally this episode. So like for me, I think there's definitely a connecting point here. I just have to see how it's executed and what they're going for to have done this. Like, and that's why the episode we're gonna get where it's gonna be Akka and Uraraka explaining what it is gonna be insanely important to me. But also like we're very much coming to a conclusion of I's stuff, and that might also I think this show still has a lot of room to talk about a lot of its interesting points. I just think there has to be a reason they've done this. My brain doesn't want to go, yeah,
I cannot
they
believe
just
you've done
fucked it
this.
up. I just don't think they've hardball messed this up so bad. Because even Day I Became a God like still kept its main theme to the end, even if it went super weird and
super vegetable.
You know, I was
Pseudoscience.
thinking the exact same thing about the day I became a god.
yeah.
Like while we were talking about it, I was like, what did we just watch that turned to a science type thing? I was like, day I became a fucking god.
To be fair, this show always had like this show really
Yeah, it
did
always had
always
stuff.
have always that, but now like they just added an element that definitely didn't feel like it was here.
Yeah.
Or hinted at, but again, maybe it was because there are underlying connections that do work. Like it is still really odd just to have Greek mythology pop into your face in a singular
Yeah.
episode.
I loved so much the other characters they were meeting in these like in the egg world
Mhm.
and like the other girls, and now it just feels like none of that really mattered to a degree. Like we still don't know what the eggs are like and how they're made and like what's going on with that. We don't know like we don't get exactly why, but like we should know Aka and Aka and what's it called, lady? Neru's overseer. Let me see, what's her name? Tanabe san. And then like again, they were gonna confront them about this, and then Momoe had boy issues, so we gotta talk about the boy issues because he thought she was a boy and he was gay, and like
Yo,
first off,
mad respect though. You do gotta go support your homies.
yeah, you support your homies. That was great. Can we get back to the plot now about killing
will.
God?
We will.
And how Momoe's not coming anymore? Are we gonna go like talk to her, please?
I mean, yeah, that's probably gonna be this episode. I got good news for you.
I enjoyed 90% of this episode, and then the last 10% was just like, what the fuck's happening? And that just really, really irks me. Don't get me wrong, the show's still gonna be top 3. The show's still gonna hang around, but like, I I really just don't know if I care as much how it ends as I did before. Like I was so excited for this show originally, and now it's just like very disappointing. Give me that Wandering Witch vibes of like disappointment levels.
That name's Kirsten.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm bringing it up. That's how much I feel strongly about this. It's like, it's so much potential. I feel like even if it executes it good, it's still never gonna crack that like 9 out of 10 barrier for me. Like it's probably like an 8 if it finishes good. But that's just my thoughts on Wonder Egg. I just not a big fan of this turn in the story.
I'm definitely still invested and still ready and willing for it to hurt me even more. Definitely some lingering concerns, but certainly in a much better place than the other things we have. To me, it and Horimiya are both incredibly good for different reasons. And I'm just interested to see how we shake out the top 4. Michael, you got anything else you want to say about Egg?
It's egg time. That's it. I don't know.
I like how I say it's egg time, but that was all phrase that came from Horimiya.
Yep, that's a joke that came from Horimiya. This is the egg season.
It's so good.
The season of eggs.
The season. We have Yuri, Yaoi, and trans, and also just straight relationships.
Are we ready to vote?
Let's go. I already
I am
voted.
ready.
I'm gonna make an amendment to my vote since we actually had to vote off 2 things. I think I only voted off Other Side Picnic this week.
Correct.
I am going to also vote off Back Arrow though. So make one amendment there because I actually
Got it.
I whoopsied. I forgot we had to vote off 2.
No
It's been a
worries.
while. I'm excited though for me to finish so I can post some really funny screenshots that I took on my phone from reading the manga panels. I have some really fucking good ones to
I
share.
slayed 3 this week.
What are they, Mr. Jackman?
Oh fuck! I just submitted.
Other Side for sure.
Other Side.
Not Skate. It's not Horimiya.
It's not Skate. I voted off Back Arrow, and I also voted off Wonder Egg.
Ooh, I had a feeling. I was like, he didn't vote off Kimono Jihen. He likes that show.
Hey, Michael. What did you vote?
I voted off Back Arrow and Kimono Jihen because
You also
of
voted
the.
Other Side.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
I was supposed to switch that. I was supposed to only vote the 2. It doesn't change anything.
Maybe.
Wait, no, I didn't vote Back Arrow. That's what it was. I only voted Kimono and Other Side.
Okay.
That's what it was.
Is that accurate?
Uh-oh.
Are you voting Komodo and Other Side?
What are you voting, Michael?
Yeah,
We
no,
gotta
Kimono
know.
and Other Side are the 2 that I voted.
Okay.
Your webcam froze,
Okay,
by the way.
I'm
on my
making
end.
sure.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Right.
So,
I was looking at the things and
I voted Back Arrow and Other Side.
Oh my god.
Both of my shows, by the way.
Holy shit.
So Back Arrow sits at 3 slays. Kimono's at 1, Other Side's at 4, Egg's at 1. Even if Dylan were to vote only on Kimono or Egg and not on Back Arrow, it would not change this decision. Because Back Arrow's at 3 and the other ones are at 1. So we don't need Dylan's votes to make this decision, but we'll hear from him his thoughts when everything's done, when he's caught up. I will let him know. We are officially voting off Other Side Picnic, which I am considering leaving first because it has full unanimous slays right now. And then Back Arrow, the unfortunate miss, which means Back Arrow came in 5th, baby!
The meme has brought it halfway.
Yep, it's wonderful to truly have it so high. Our top 4 then looks to be Horimiya, Komodo Jihen, Skate, and Egg.
Okay.
This I think has been locked in. I wouldn't say that, buddy. You still got 2 episodes.
There's always a dumpster fire to be had with romance shows.
There's you never know what's going to happen, Dodge.
How pissed would you be if they
actually, if you read ahead, you kind of know what's gonna happen.
What happens? Dodge, how pissed would you be if they did a full recap episode for the next episode?
There's too much content, dude. You gotta remember, there's 14 novels of content, and they're fucking blitzing through this shit. They got content to spare,
Bro.
baby.
I would be so angry
Dude,
if they fucking
The only thing I'm
recapped.
disappointed about Hornia is they've left out a character that I loved, as like a side character.
Don't worry, we'll see
never-
them next episode, I'm sure.
No, we won't. No, we won't.
So
So related.
technically speaking, we could come back next week and vote off to a top 3. However, I think it's better just to wait and finish out the season and just do top 4 the way we have it. I think that's good for it. Just let
That's a good idea.
everything build out. I think
Wait a
our
week.
top 4 is a solid top 4. That's fine. And this is probably, I think, the safest bet, just because I think these shows deserve to be at its stopping point right now.
Yeah.
Let everything finish out, see how we feel. It might spice things up to leave everything here for now. With that in mind, we have a couple of we have a thing I want to talk about quick. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna take a week off and then we're gonna be back for the season finale. So long as we have Dylan. I want all of us here for that one, so we're gonna shoot to have that.
For the moon.
And then we have the spring. We have like a couple of weeks between it. We have like usually the 3-4 week break before spring starts as a season. And we usually have an additional 2 weeks to let shows build. I do need to know out of my co-hosts who will be joining us for the spring season.
Free time.
I'm not sure.
I will be here. I can guarantee you that, listeners. I never leave. I am trapped in
Probably my-
eternal podcast hell.
Best time to do this podcast, but we'll see.
I'll have to see.
Okay.
I
I'll
think
be here
I will be able
probably.
to.
Okay.
I believe I should be able to.
Because
No
I need.
school. Free.
It just depends on how many shows we do. Because if we do fucking,
We're not
what
doing
was
13
it, like 14?
again. We're not doing 13
Okay.
again. We're doing 12 at max, 11
Okay.
at minimum.
But yeah, I should be able to be here.
Because
Hopefully there will be some better shows.
I think there will
Oh,
be.
man. I'm just saying,
But
best show of the season.
that's up to us. We're the ones who
That's
pick
true.
them.
That's true.
Yeah, based off the eye test.
Hey, you're allowed to read the bios and watch the trailers. I never said
I
you
could have
weren't.
realized Tori Me is also the most popular romance novel of all time, but even I didn't know that shit.
You're allowed to do the research if you so please.
I took a gamble. I was like, this one has pretty colors. This one has romance. This is my
Yeah,
show
I
for the
close my eyes
You
and
took the
choose.
gamble you take every year.
season.
season.
Ding! Idol
Bro.
show. Damn it!
Honestly, I would rather just bring it to the wheel.
But from my
All the episodes on the
understanding,
wheel.
most likely Dylan will not be joining us next season.
Gotcha.
Due to being a working man.
Pouring out for
Yes.
Dylan.
He just has to. It's just most likely not possible that he's going to be able to keep this up. So I think his point was probably no. So I just need to know when I start to reach out about who to bring on and testing the waters to see who all I need to get additional people for the numbers. So as soon as you guys know if you're coming back, let me know, because probably either next week or the week after I want to try to start reaching out to people.
I should be good. Just because I have weekends off.
Yeah.
But I know I have D&D Saturdays, and possibly Sundays, but that can be worked around.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What do you think, Dash?
I should be pretty free this summer's pretty much my free time, so it's definitely the season I look forward to in anime.
Well, we got spring. This starts April and goes into
Yeah, I finish school in April,
September.
so as long as we work around exam schedule, I should be good to go.
June. It goes through June.
Yeah, I'm skipping a lot. That's a lot
Yeah,
of months.
you just
I
skipped
assumed it was
July
going.
and August.
Don't worry about that.
God,
Yeah,
stuff
it
really
goes through
starts in 2 weeks, doesn't it?
April to June. Yep. So,
God damn.
yep.
Don't stop.
Don't stop. I mean,
Don't stop!
You get like 3 weeks.
I clicked on one show that looked like a romance. I scrolled down to the first thread and it just says how old are they, and I'm like, oh no, that's a dangerous one.
Mm.
Yeah, your
mean,
romance
so-
options are for sure interesting next season.
I took a gamble this season.
Yeah.
Oh god, I'm not taking Nagatoro-san.
I'm under.
Two of your
I'm
shows
on
are in top 4.
Yeah. I mean, can't do much with a second place, you know?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
You'll have to see if
No.
one of them.
Which,
Nobody remembers the runner-up to Horimiya.
by the way.
You say that, Jackman, but last season
Jujutsu Kaisen should have been
Second place
first.
was a tie.
That's true. We did bring it to the wheel.
Jujutsu Kaisen, dude. I don't know why Akudama won.
Look,
Yep.
I'm not going to argue that Akudama is better than Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm here to argue that by the podcast voting system, they were equally winners. We just pushed the button to the wheel. I consider you also a winner, Jackman.
Oh, I appreciate it.
I consider you the loser, Jack.
Except for I didn't get the Discord tag.
That's true. We'll have to see who's gonna walk away with it.
Sorry.
So for reference, the options are Daj wins with Horimiya, Michael wins with Egg, Jackman wins with Kimono or Skate.
I have 2 shows.
You have 2 shows. but
I'm
they're
the
both
only one
popular.
left with 2 shows.
It is hilarious to think that all of Dylan's shows went in a row, and then both of Tommy's shows went 2 weeks ago, and then both of my shows went literally today. We just killed them in collection with each other.
And then mine was just there in a stopgap.
As
One
was
of my
Michael's.
shows.
So,
Yeah.
did we all have 3 shows or
You had
2 shows?
well, Pablo had 3.
Technically, we gave Dylan XR, even though XR
That's
was like
true.
a
That's
community
true.
decision, which we
That's
should
so
not have
true.
made for numerous reasons.
I mean, it was supposed to be idols, and then
Oh yeah, it was.
that would have gone off week 1 just as
Bless.
easily.
Uh,
But it was an 8-minute episode.
I'll let you know. I already have a handful of shows I'm considering, and one of them I really want to pick because I think it's good enough to make it worth it. But it's also a 20-episode show.
Oh wait, when's the Kaguya OVA coming out?
I think next season.
Oh,
Or
it's not
it's
for like
summer.
another month and a half. It's like
Dude,
more
I
than-
have 0 knowledge of what's coming out.
Yep.
So,
Michael
I will
and
be
are-
looking
Michael
I will
and
be
I
looking at fucking
are excited.
poster images and that is all.
I will
Probably gonna pick 86
I will
if someone
compile.
else does it.
I will compile a spreadsheet for us, and then
Hog.
awfully messed up.
and then you can look through it and go, "Why the fuck is this on here?" and tell me to get rid of it, or tell me if I miss anything, because that's equally important. Again, we won't be doing sequels if you don't know how we work. So when spring
Someone's
rolls
gonna pick
around,
Nagatoro-san. Someone's gonna do it.
I'm tempted to pick Nagatoro, but I know
Feels
it's
like-
gonna get voted off week 1 because I know how this podcast works.
I feel like that's an easy.
I mean, I actually
no,
don't.
wait, I feel like that's an easy top half. Isn't that show actually good?
you
See, the
well,
issue
Dylan's
among-
not here anymore,
And
so
That is
Nathan's
true.
not Here, so
Well,
we
bring
don't
in-
have the
bring in
Uzaki
Minaj-
haters.
well,
here
Nathan's
anymore.
not here yet. We don't know
If
what
we brought
next
in
season's
Minaj,
gonna
we'd have
look
3
like.
romance sluts in here.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
so-
open the door for people. We'll see who wants in.
Because if you don't know, the season there was
Whoa.
only Sean, Dylan, and Nathan. Uzaki went week 1.
That show should not have
Switch-
gone week 1. I
Uzaki was not nearly
I
as
don't
bad
think
as the other shows
I don't think
that season.
Uzaki's wonderful is like wonderful or amazing, but man, it ain't fucking Gibby 8.
It somehow beat out Gibby 8 that season.
It also
Or
ain't
it got
it
voted
also
out before Gibby
it
8.
also isn't Hentai Heros.
Excuse
What?
me, Hentai
I remember that
Ajax
show.
is an amazing show.
Why are half of these romances age gap romances?
Dodge,
Just
because
think
they know exactly who they're trying to appeal to, and it ain't this podcast.
Listen here, you little shit. Just because I'm 24 doesn't mean it's.
I didn't say it was appeal. I strictly just said it wasn't appealing to any of us on the podcast. Dodge, do you have something you want to explain to us?
I feel targeted by this anime this season. Very rude.
Oof. Well, we are down to 4 shows. and
I'm
we-
excited to see the total votes.
Oh yeah, this might be a record high slay considering we have 13 shows.
Yeah.
And most certainly will
Yeah.
have like the most amount of slays
We
probably.
also might have a record low.
Save
'Cause,
count.
I mean,
Anybody slayed Horimiya? I feel like it's gotten 1.
I think Dylan
nope.
I might
don't-
have.